Channel. Today we're taking a look at 5 must-know Van Halen riffs, part 1, up next. Okay, before we get going on the lesson today, check down below here for my Patreon link, patreon.com/NickLaytonGuitar. That's where you'll find the tab for all 5 riffs for this lesson, including the Guitar Pro files as well. Also, I've got a free gift for you guys. It's called 5 Must-Know 80s Metal Riffs. If you're into this kind of stuff, you're going to love that. So make sure and check that also down below in the description. So we're tuned to E-flat standard for all of these riffs, all 5 riffs. Here's a low E. Tune up if you're not in tune already. These riffs, I'm calling this part 1, and I'm calling this sort of the beginner friendly edition. And then I'm going to do a part 2 very soon, within the next month or two, of some of the more difficult riffs that involve some of them 2-hand tapping, like Hot for Teacher, I'm the One, kind of up-tempo sort of things like that. So you can expect that coming soon. Keep your eyes out for that. I've also got a solo for Mr. Edward Van Halen planned this week, later on in the week, and so that will be, you'll have to wait and see what that is. Now I'll just go ahead and tell you. It'll be the solo for Panama, which is one of his coolest and most recognizable solos, and it's got a ton of cool licks in it. So that'll be coming up later in the week. So let's get started. We're going to start off nice and easy. This is Runnin' with the Devil. So, of course, the unmistakable intro riff to Runnin' with the Devil, the song that started it all. This one is fairly simple, but it's got some tricky bits. If your fingers aren't used to doing these kind of chord shapes, it could be a little tricky. But what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of slide in, and you'll hear that slide in between. In between the parts of the riff here. I'm just sliding kind of from nowhere, sliding down. If you notice, I make sure I kind of end my slide so I can land right here. So the riffs is on the 5th fret, D and G. And you're gonna hit that first chord little staccato, which means you hit it and then you kind of cut it off with your palm on your picking hand. You don't want, you want, okay, and then so we're going to go 5 D and G to 7 D and G. And then in between, it's like 2 chickabooms, pick scratches. I'm not playing any notes, just kind of muting with my hand here. So, okay, and then 7 on the D and G again, and hammer on 9 on the D and 8 on the B. This might be tricky if you haven't done this before. Okay, so, and then once you do that, move the whole thing up so that your hand is on 11, D, 9G, 10B. And then take that off and play 9 and 9 on the D and G. You could play 9 on the B as well if you wanted. Okay, and so when that comes in, it's okay, so just make sure when you're hammering on, it's nice and clean. Okay, so that's Running with the Devil, riff number 1. Riff number 2, we're looking at Jimi's Cryin. Here's how the rhythm guitar part starts. Okay, super cool, easy, groovy, total Eddie, right? So, it's just open E. Okay, just like that, and then right out of the E blues scale, this is 7, 6, 5 down to 3 on the low E. And I'm sliding into 7 from below. And giving that little tweak at the end there on the 3rd fret low E, a little bent note there, slightly bent. So you do that twice. The 3rd time you do this. Here's some more of those chicka booms in there. It's starting out low E, and then 7 on the B and the high E, and then the chicka boom, and then 7 D and G. So you could mute the low E string there instead of doing the chicka. It sounds more like a chicka's pick scratch to me. It does that twice too at the intro. We're just looking at the very beginning here before the verse starts, actually leading up to the verse, everything leading up. And this riff wouldn't be complete if I didn't show you the lead part that goes over this. It's a lot of fun to play and a great lesson in bending. All right. So watching Eddie do this live, he kind of combined the parts that were on the album. So that's what I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a unison bend on 13 and on the B string, and then hold down 10 with the high E, and then bend 13 on the B until it sounds like 10 on the high E. Then do the same thing on 15 and 12, B and high E. And then we're going to go, and that's 12 up a whole step on the B, and then bring it and then return it. I'm actually cutting the note off when I bend it and then picking it again. Just like this. Vibrato there. Okay, now we're going to bend up 12 a step and a half. So it sounds like 15. And then we're going to lower it 1/2 step. This is tricky. It takes a lot. It takes a good ear and some practice. We're going to lower it so we get a 1/2 step, bend it up a step and a half, lower it a 1/2 step, and then lower it all the way down. The melody should sound like. It's a little flat there. There it is. So, okay, so that's the little melody you want there. So we have this so far. And then at the very end of that, we'll go. Kind of dive bomb out on that 9th fret. So bend, or start with by playing 10 on the B, pick it again, bend it up a whole step, bring it back to 10, and then 9 on the B. Dive bomb out. Okay, so. Okay, so that's Jimi's Cryin. Have fun with that. All right, here's the next riff. This is Ain't Talking About Love, and it goes like this. All right, let's start with that. You're going to use some palm muting here, but the basic idea is you're forming an A minor chord, and then you're picking notes out of that. I'm using alternate picking on this. So what we're going to do first is play the open A string, and then the 2nd fret on the D. Then skip over the G, you're holding down this A minor, play 1st fret B, and then 2nd fret on the G. So all those notes you're holding down, but they should sound separated because you're muting, not letting them ring together like that. Okay. Now we're going to move to an F chord by simply lifting up, playing the open E, and then lifting up the index finger and grabbing 1st fret on the high E, and then 1st fret on the B, and then keep third finger, the ring finger, on the 2nd fret G string. So that way it's just a really easy move without moving your hand much. Okay, now we're going to move off of this, play 3rd fret high E on the G, and then on that G note there, and then 3rd fret B, and then low E on the 3rd fret. Okay, Big jump there. And then end it with this. And that's 3rd fret on the A, a little vibrato, and then 2nd fret on the A, hammer on the 3rd fret. Like that. And then it repeats. So you get this. Okay, so you get that 4 times. Take that nice and slow, make sure you're muting everything. It's a great riff to get down. It always sounds awesome. It's a great party favorite. All right, now we're looking at Somebody Get Me a Doctor, and this is from the Van Halen 2 album, which might be my favorite. Hard to say, you know, depends on my mood, but I love Van Halen 2. Starts out like this. Alright, so just the little intro chords here. It's a G, C, D, but what we're doing is we're holding down G like that, 3rd fret, low E, mute out the A with your middle finger, open D, open G, and then the top 2 strings on the 3rd fret. What you're going to do is move to the C just by moving your middle finger to the 3rd fret on the 5th string. Hold down everything else just like you had. Okay, here's a D with the A as the lowest note, so I'm playing the A string with it. It's open A, open D, 2nd fret G, 3rd fret B. So, do it again. End on an E power chord. And then get a little woo woo with the bar. So that's the intro. That's the intro. Here's the riff. All right, awesome riff. And you'll probably notice some similarities from those kind of chords, those diads, 2-note chords. By the way, if you're into learning about all this stuff, I've got a course called 80s Metal Guitar 101 where I talk about all this kind of foundational basic stuff, diads, power chords, all that stuff, how it works. Check that out. Oh, I'll put the link down below for that if you're interested. So here's the riff. It's a pull off from the 3rd string, A to the open, and then I'm playing 3 open A's, but I'm muting it, and then I'm playing open D and G, and then 2nd fret D and G. It's like going from a G to an A, right? Now we're going to do this cool move where we slide up to 7 on the A, and then play 5 on the D and G, then play an open A, and do this. So D sus to a D. So here we have 7, or you're going to bar 7 on the D, G, and B, but you're going to start out by adding your middle finger to the 8th fret on the B. And then and take it away like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Here it is again. Eddie's doing a slide in between these as well, so the full effect of the riff would be. Okay, does that, and then I'll show you just a little bit of the verse. Goes like that. That's the first time through the verse. It's an E major triad. And I'm doing it 3 times, followed by the low E string, muted. Then move it up to 10 across the G, the D, G, and B, sorry. And do the same picking 3 times in. And still with that low E going, so. Like that, and then it goes back into the riff. I think on the later on it goes. Before it goes to the next section, it's just chromatically moving up 1 fret, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so there's a nice big chunk of Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Okay, finally, we're doing the classic from 1984. This is Panama. This one, let me just play it and we'll break it down. There's a couple tricky bits. Let's look at that much first, and then I'll show you the next little bit. So we're starting on the end of 1. If you count it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. That's where the riff starts. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. That could throw you off if you're trying to play along with it. So here's the riff. That should be an open B string there. Make sure not to accidentally kill it with your fret hand. Okay, so what we're doing is I'm playing the 7th fret, muting the 7th fret, and then I'm playing these triads on top of it. So I'm going. Okay, so it starts out with an E major triad. 9 across the D, G, and B, 2 7s on the A string. That's our E note, that's our root. Then we're going to do an E sus, just add the 10th fret on the B string, back to that E, the E note. Now look what we're doing here, 9, 8, 7, that's a B triad. B major triad, but we're kind of holding it down within the context of the riff here, of the chords that we're playing, so not much finger movement needs to happen. Back to E major, back to E sus, and then back to B. So the pattern is one more time. Okay, so we'll move down to a D chord here. So we're gonna go same idea, but we're gonna cut it a little bit short. Play across the 7, D, G, and B. Now we're muting on the 5th fret on the A string because we're playing our D root here. D sus. Just add your finger to the 8th fret on the B string. And then we're going to play an A major triad, 7, 6, 5 on the D, G, and B. Hold that, and then we're going to play the open B string, and then dive it down with the whammy bar. Okay, so put those together, we get this. Okay, now we're going to start with a pickup note, which is the low E string. That kind of resets the whole riff. We start back into the riff just like we did the first time. And then this last time, instead of hitting the open B string, we just hold that chord, A major chord. The pick slide to our next section. So, okay, here's all that together. Okay, now we're gonna, after the pick scrape, pick slide, play a C minor, C sharp minor chord, 4th fret on the A, 6th fret D and G, 5th fret on the B. Then we're gonna mute the 4th fret on the low A. Then we're gonna do this. So it's 4 D and G. Actually, on the B as well, 4 D, G, and B. Then we're going to pull off 5 to 4 on the B. Open A string, slide back 4 D and G back to 2 D and G. Open A, and then 2 more A's. So, in this, it's really a whole step bend from 2 on the A, so it sounds like 4. So you bend it and then release it. If you can get a pinch harmonic, sound really cool there. Okay. Back to the C sharp. So what we're going to do this time is remove the 5th fret, still holding down that C sharp chord, bar it across the 4th fret, and then do this. 4 on the B, 6G, back to 4 on the B, and then 5 on the B. Let all that ring together. And then this again. Just like we did before. But instead of going to the pinch harmonic, then we're going to do this. So A chord to a B5 power chord. And then this. It's the open high E string, 4th fret B, 4th fret G. You want a little bit of a palm beat there. Let's see, so do that twice, and then we're going to play harmonics. 5th fret high E, 4th fret on the B, 4th fret G. So like this. On that last time, you just hit the 4th fret on the G string 3 times with the harmonica. Like that. Okay? And then, of course, there's the cool chorus riff, but we'll get to that another time. Okay? This is a lot already. So let me just play that last section after the pick stick. And you can end that on a nice big E power chord. Alright, so that's it, guys. All 5 riffs. This has been a fairly long video, but wanted to make sure you got all the details on this, and hopefully you have a lot of fun working on these riffs. Like I said, there's a lot to be gained even from these easy riffs, right? There'll be another video coming soon with some of the more difficult stuff, but these are really great to get your feet wet with if you're new to the world of Van Halen, or if you just have a few holes in your Van Halen vocabulary. This is a great way to fill the gaps here, and we'll be doing some more later on this week, working on that Panama solo. So stay tuned for that. Make sure and grab the tab in Guitar Pro over at Patreon, and grab that free 5 must-know 80s metal riffs also down below in the description. And I'll see you next time. Rock on.